Okay, guys, am I audible to all of you? Can you just confirm me? The PDF which is given in the test and answer writing section, that is different, obviously, because that is having the questions and answers. That is given in the question answer format, but even in that also, I have incorporated the same content as the note, right? So because some other students are taking that course separately, so for them, I have to give the notes. So that's how it is prepared. So that will actually contain questions. Even if you take thinkers, I think 140 questions are there from the 6 thinkers. So all the possible questions have been covered over there. And for all the questions, answers have been given, the format has been given. You just need to go through that. It will be repetition. You will see repeated questions. Even in alienation itself, yesterday, last time when we are discussing about alienation, I've given you around 10 questions from that particular topic itself. So that way, I've taken care of all the permutations and combination, all the probable questions from each of the thinkers. So that's why even from the first 3 chapters, you'll see around 40-50 questions. I've given the solutions also. So that is beyond the classes and the materials that we have given. But even in that also, the class notes will come. So if you are planning to take the printout, take it accordingly. If you're taking that, then there is no need to take the printout of the actual notes, or selectively you have to do it. But I don't think that is heavy. No, it will come around 1,000 pages. So there is no need to go for printout. You just go through the questions, because a lot of repeated questions and the solutions are there. It is all about how you're going to write it, right? The same content, it is twist and how you're going to twist it. That is how it is actually shown over there, right? So or I have given the questions also separately. You can take the questions, and then solutions you can read online. That will be better. Why unnecessarily you're taking printout of all those around 1,000 pages? That's not required. You take the printout of the class notes. That's enough. And these things you can read directly from there. Take the separate questions I've given, like that 40 questions from the first 3 chapters is given. And that is given in 2-3 pages that you can take, so that you'll get all the possible questions. Then thinkers also have given around 140-130 questions. Take that. That will be around 5-6 pages only. Solution you read from there. That will be better. Okay. So can we start, guys? We will start with Weber. So give me 1 minute. Guys, if you go for a critical analysis for Durkheim, the same way you can go with some general criticism. All the specific criticisms is already given to you. It has been discussed also. So just go through that in detail. And what is the general criticism which you can write? Someone was asking me like macro, right? So obviously he's a macro sociologist, is giving importance to society. So you need to use a thinker. I don't want you to write it as your own criticism. You can obviously use Weber over there. So you can criticize it by using Weber, right? Weber, micro perspective, phenomenologist or the ethnomethodologist, right? These things you can easily use. So macro is something which you can use here. And then you can criticize it by using Weber or Weber. I'm telling you because that's the thinker that we are studying in detail. You can use any micro sociologist. You can use any non-positivist. No need to use only Weber. If you want to, you can go with any others, right? There is no issue with respect to that. Anyone from formal school you can use. Any phenomenologist, any ethnomethodologist you can use. You know many, right? And then you can also write about functional approach. He's trying to find everything in terms of function, but he's talking about dysfunction. He's talking about dysfunction, but not as dysfunction. He's talking about some abnormal form. But that is temporary for Durkheim, right? So you can here use Marx. As of now, you have the knowledge about Marx, so you can use Marx. But a better one will come within functional approach. Dysfunctions have been incorporated by Merton. So once we done with Weber this session and then Parson, then we will go to Merton. Then you will get a better. You can obviously use Marx to criticize it, bringing about the dysfunction, the other dimensions, conflict approach, and everything you can use. There is no problem. Absolutely fine and perfect. But the advantage with Merton is a functionalist, and we call him as a father of neo-functionalism. We have taken functionalism to a next level by incorporating dysfunction also in functionalism. I'll discuss about that in detail. So when you criticize Durkheim towards his approach of this functional bias, right? Then you can obviously use Merton as well. Like if you remember, even in the theory of religion, I've told you when we use the criticism, I've told you, if you remember, Marx considered religion as opium of masses by using conflict approach. Even Merton criticism also we discussed, right? Multiplicity of religion create conflict. So Merton is also actually a critique in many aspects when it comes to the functionalist, all the functionalists actually. Then specific criticism, suicide, we have discussed about Atkinson criticism, the subjectivity of the coroners. We have discussed about the data he collected. And then we have discussed about he's claiming that he's an inductivist, he's a positivist, but his theories looks like a deductive approach, right? In almost all the theories, you can see that the theory is already there, the conclusion is already there in his mind, even before he take up analysis. That means it's a kind of deductive approach. And most of the cases, he's referring to secondary or tertiary sources rather than collecting information directly. Whether it is theory of religion, he's referring to ethnographies. If it is theory of suicide, he's referring to the police records, right? So all these criticisms are very simple and very easy to criticize Durkheim actually, because he's only trying to see everything in functional terms. And there are many criticisms for all these. So just go through that. That will be very simple only. Now let's start with Weber. Guys, tell me first what all things you know about Weber so far. So that will make my job easier. At the same time, I'll also come to know what you know about Weber so far. I can just unmute all of you. In case if you want to talk, you can talk and you can message also. Anyway, it's fine. Yes, micro perspective, micro approach, yes. So in fact, there is a deviation, right? So macro to micro, society to individual centric approach. Yeah, individual, that's what micro, individual centric approach. Interpretive approach, okay. So that means interpretive approach means not positivism, nor complete non-positivism. There is a bridge, in fact, he bridged the gap between positivist and non-positivist, right? On one hand, he followed certain approaches of positivist. On the other hand, he followed certain approaches of non-positivist. He did not follow the approach of non-positivist. In fact, he laid the foundation to the non-positivism. From here, non-positivism is actually getting developed, right? So Weber deviated in terms of subject matter. So he considered the subject matter of sociology to be studying social action and the meanings attached by the actor to the action and establish the cause and effect. So he introduced that term, you study the meanings of the actor. That means the individual aspect, right? Internal aspect. So far, if you see the positivist, whether it is Comte, Spencer, Durkheim, all these positivists, they were, they wanted to make it scientific methods and they focus on external aspect, they focus on cause and effect, they focus on theory building, they focus on, objectivity, they focus on scientific methods and everything. That is on one dimension, on one side. But when it comes to Weber, he changed from that external to internal. So the subject matter is going to be individual and individual actions and the meanings attached by the actor to the action. That means it is going to be internal. Okay, so meanings you need to be studied. So he deviated from positivist. That's the beginning of non-positivism. But he still stands with the positivist in terms of the method of inquiry. He stressed on objectivity. For that, you're going to see methods, ideal types, Verstehen, causal pluralism, multiple methods he's giving. He focused on training of the investigator. So he's still with positivist in terms of objectivity. And he want to make theories. That is also from positivist. And that's why you're going to study theories of social action, authority, bureaucracy, Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism, and all those things. So that side is also there, right? So there is an element from positivism and obviously laid the foundation to non-positivism. So he is considered to have bridged the gap between the two, right? What else? There are many messages which I've missed out. Internal, we discussed. Cause and effect relation, yes. Study of social action, we discussed. Formal school, yes, that is what coming to micro. Different people, different approach, that is what individual-centric approach. Formal school, interpretive approach, yes. Anything more? Study of social action, we discussed it. Cause and effect relation, study of social action, understand the meaning attached by the actor, establish the cause and effect relation, yes. So how he defined, I'll just discuss about his definition part. He defined sociology as, yeah, objectivity we discussed. Please send the message to everyone, change that setting so that everyone can see what you're sending. Okay, so that will be beneficial to all of us. Okay, guys, if you see, I missed out something which I wanted to say. Yeah, how he defines sociology. Sociology is an interpretive understanding of social action in order thereby to arrive at an explanation of cause and effect. I'll just share the screen, and then rather than I just explaining, I'll come to the introductory part, but let's see the definition. Just give me 1 minute, guys. This. Can you see the screen now? Yeah. So can you see the definition here? Sociology is a science which attempt at interpretive understanding of social action in order thereby to arrive at an explanation of cause and effect. So you can see here very clearly he's saying it's a science. Now, if you have seen that topic on science, scientific methods, we might have used this conclusion that according to Weber, sociology is a science, but not similar to natural science, like Comte, Spencer, Durkheim, etc. claims. It's not similar to natural science, but it's a science. Why? Because we study in a scientific manner by establishing cause and effect and everything, by using methods, right? By using evidence and logic, right? It's about method of inquiry. So, which attempt at interpretive understanding of social action. So, what you're trying to understand here, social action, that is a subject matter for Weber. Study social action, that's a subject matter. How you study interpretive understanding, that's what interpretive sociology, how you're going to study, right? So it's about interpretive understanding of social action, and then what you need to do, arrive at an explanation of cause and effect. So you can see here from this definition of sociology itself, the point that I've told you just before, he's positivist on one side and non-positivist on the other side, or Weber is a positivist in terms of method of inquiry, how you study, and non-positivist in terms of subject matter. It is very clear, right? So here you can see subject matter is social action, non-positivism, how interpretive understanding, right? So it is about interpretation and it's about social action. But positivist, you can see here science and establishment of cause and effect. So that's why I've told you he's considered to have bridged the gap between the two, positivist and non-positivist. Correct? So sociology is a science which attempts at interpretive understanding of social action in order thereby to arrive at an explanation of cause and effect. Now, what is social action and everything, I'll come to you later. But this is his idea about sociology. This is how he explained. This is where he tell what is the scope of sociology. It is nothing but interpretive understanding of social action. What is the scope of sociology? Study social action. How? By the explanation of cause and effect. For that, you have to use methods, and he give you methods. Don't worry, we are going to study everything. Verstehen, causal pluralism, ideal types, comparative analysis, and all the demonstration of these methods also we will see in different theories. Today itself, we'll see, I think, ideal types demonstration in the theory of social action. Okay. Okay, guys, let's look into the introductory part, and then I'll go with the theory of social action and everything. It is there, which is coming very simple theory only. And in this theory here itself, we will go with Verstehen. I'll explain what is Verstehen. And then we will also see ideal types here. That is another method. Ideal types is coming here. But ideal types, I'll discuss in detail tomorrow in a separate session, because that have a potential to be asked as a 20 marker also. So here I'll just tell you what is ideal types, and I'll discuss about ideal types of this particular topic, social action. And then tomorrow I'll discuss ideal types in detail, the way you need to write in your actual paper. Okay, if the specific question is asked. Verstehen, clear-cut example and explanation is given here. That is done. And then theory of social action will be completed. But before that, let's go with the introduction, and we'll see if there is anything missed out from what you have discussed about what you know about Weber. Guys, what all things you told me about Weber, that's enough for me to write introduction, right? The founding father of modern sociology and everything you will write. So Weber is considered as one of the founding fathers of modern sociology. Obviously, Durkheim also, you'll write the same. Weber established sociology as a discipline in Germany. He discussed the scope and nature of sociology. along with distinct methodology for sociology. See, he discusses scope. What is that? Study, social action, right? Nature, sociology is a science, but not similar to natural science. That you need to remember. And distinct methodology, we are going to see different methods and his approach, right? Weber resolved major controversy with respect to the contradictory claims of positivist and idealist in the context of sociological knowledge. He is considered to have bridged the gap between the two. On one hand, he proposed the use of scientific methods to ensure objectivity. That way, he's a positivist, ensuring objectivity, scientific methods and all, right? On the other hand, he intended to study the meanings attached by the actor to the action, meanings, internal aspect. In this way, he's a non-positivist also, and making it as the basic subject matter of sociology. In this way, he used and accommodated the diverse claims of both positivist as well as non-positivist. And in order to substantiate these claims, Weber pointed out towards the basic difference between nature of natural science and social science. You know that, right? Natural science study matter, which do not have any consciousness. So the behavior can be predicted easily in terms of cause and effect. There is no problem. You can ensure absolute objectivity also when it comes to natural science, as it don't have, consciousness. It's just matter, right? So when it comes to social science, you're dealing with human beings. Human beings have consciousness, and the behavior of human beings cannot be predicted easily in terms of cause and effect. So that absolute objectivity cannot be ensured. Exact cause and effect relation may not be ensured in sociology. So what is the main difference? The main difference is in the subject matter. On one side, you're dealing with matter, which don't have any consciousness. On the other side, you're dealing with human beings who have consciousness. That's the main problem. Matter, you see, take water, you boil at 100 degrees Celsius, you know what is going to happen. You can predict it. You freeze it at 0 degrees Celsius, you know what is going to happen, right? Easy, but that's not the case with human beings. So that's what I explained here. Natural science basic unit is matter, which do not have consciousness and all. Okay, due to this difference, there is a limitation on development of generalization in sociology, like natural science, but we do generalize. According to him, social reality cannot be studied without taking into consideration the human consciousness, which exists in terms of subjective meanings, motives, and emotional aspect. That means the internal aspect or the micro. Thus, the subject matter of sociology to study these subjective meanings, but by using scientific methods. So study subjective meanings, that is why non-positivist, but by using scientific. That's the most, guys, whenever you see but, I hope you know the importance of but, right? Even when we are solving the comprehensions, these are the keywords that we are looking for. But, therefore, although, right? On one hand, on the other hand, these are structure words. By using the structure words, always the author trying to communicate the most important things to you. With this itself, I can answer certain questions if I know these structure words or the keywords in your RC. Just like that, you can see here, but by using scientific methods. On one side, you told everything, but at the same time, this is very important for Weber. These claims of Weber are found in the book, Methodology of Social Science. Okay, so this is how he defined sociology. Now, let's look into social action, right? So the definition is very simple. Any action is social by virtue of the meanings attached by it to the actor. It takes into account the behavior of others and is thereby oriented in its course. Guys, any action is social. Two conditions need to be met. First condition is there should be some meaning which is attached by the actor. So I'm doing an action here. When I'm doing this action, if it need to be social, first condition is there should be some meaning. Yes or no? Yes. So meaning part is done. Secondly, it should be oriented towards other person. Now, is it oriented towards other person? You are there at the other end, right? That means this is a social action. So it's pretty simple. Any action is social. Two conditions need to be satisfied. The actor should have certain meanings when he is performing the action. It should be oriented in its course. Guys, you are drinking water. Is that a social action? It's an action. There is a meaning because you're thirsty and you are drinking. There is meaning, but is it oriented towards other person? No, it's not a social action, right? But when you're doing an action, meaning should be there. At the same time, orientation should be there. These are the two conditions, right? Now, he's also talking about some behavioral aspects, like certain people do certain things, right? These are behaviors like blinking of eyes. Sometimes people keep on blinking of eyes. I don't know how many of you know, you have seen Saurav Ganguly, that 90s kids only know mostly. So he always keep on blinking the eyes, right? Dhoni he used to do like this, right? So these are behaviors. These are not social action, right? So blinking of eye. But if you blink the eyes to communicate certain things, then if there is a meaning and if it is oriented towards other person, then yes, that is a social action. But otherwise, it is just behavior. Okay, so behaviors are not social action. That is repetitive actions, but these are behaviors, blinking of eyes and all those things. Okay. Secondly, you see, you're talking about orientation. This orientation is not necessarily direct, like I'm here, you are here. Not necessarily like that. It can be at the mental level also. Like what we are doing now, I'm expecting that on the other side, you are sitting and you're listening to what I'm discussing, right? So here it is again at the mental level only. So when you're talking over a phone, you're doing certain action. You might be doing certain action if you're talking over a phone. So it is oriented towards that person, but not direct. It is indirect, right? So this orientation can be direct or indirect. There should be meaning. The orientation can be direct or indirect. I hope you understood this point. So the meaning is important part, orientation is important part. Any confusion here? So that's about the definition. So for any action to become